So now in my collection tray I have a purple urchin, which we also call a black urchin. So the spikes that it is covered in, it actually moves those around and uses them to walk, whereas those little suckers on stalks that it's sending out are its feet, technically. So it uses those to actually sense their surroundings and to taste the water for different kinds of food. So I've actually gone ahead and turned over this sea urchin, and you can see all of his little tube feet are moving around because I've turned him upside down, of course. And if I zoom into his very center, you can see what looks like a little beak. So that's actually the mouth of the sea urchin, and we call that Aristotle's lantern. So sea urchins only have 5 teeth, but they're very sharp, and they come together in a point to make the beak. Now I've left the sea urchin for some time, and as you can see, he has just turned himself the right way using his tube feet. So nearly all of his tube feet are out, and pretty much every sea urchin will have hundreds of these tiny feet. They use them to move around, and as you just saw, to turn themselves over when they get flipped. So this is a edible sea urchin. They're called edible urchins because in breeding season, the roe, or the gonads, or sexual reproductive organs of these sea urchins are edible, and they're actually quite tasty. They are considered a delicacy in many cultures, but this little guy is going back into his rock pool soon. But even out of the water, they continue to move their spines to move around, and you can see him slowly turning around, and he's going to eventually crawl back into his rock pool, but I will give him a hand with that. And here's a lovely example of some of the tube feet and the moving spines on an edible sea urchin. So because he's not in water, his tube feet are tucked in, but you can still see them moving around a small amount. There's his Aristotle's lantern, his 5-toothed beak that he uses to eat, that's his mouth. And if we zoom out again, you can see his spines moving around, even though he's not in water.